Hello guys, in today's video I'm gonna show you a list of useful Visual Studio Code shortcuts to speed up your work. So let's switch to Visual Studio Code. The first shortcut that I use is a command palette. That is actually Ctrl-Shift-P, Ctrl-Shift-P, or on Mac OS it is Command-Shift-P, and actually opens a command palette that is palette of different commands that you can run directly from here. So you can search for any commands, for example, new something, and also it contains your extensions and the shortcuts to them also. So the interesting thing here that these commands here have their own shortcuts as well, and that you can see here. So this is the first one. The other ones I separated in 4 groups. The first group is togglers that toggle something here in Visual Studio Code, and the next group is going to be sidebar navigation. So some of the commands or shortcuts to navigate through the sidebar navigation here. And the third group is going to be tabs and files, that is navigation of files here in the view. And also the last one actually is code or text manipulation that we are going to do here. So after the command palette, I'm going to show you the togglers that I use. That is actually Control and backtick that opens our terminal here, and with the same one you can hide it. On Mac OS, it is the same command, so it is Control backtick on the Mac OS. If you don't know where is a backtick, it is below the escape button usually. So this is the command for toggling the terminal. After that one, I'm going to show you the one to toggle primary sidebar visibility. So it is Control B, or on macOS Command B. So if you don't use it while coding to save your space here, you can just press Control B actually, or Command B, and toggle it. So the next one where it comes to togglers is the one that I like, is to activate the Zen mode. So what does that mean actually? It means that when I hit Control K and Z, it is toggling Zen mode. Zen mode is actually a mode where all sidebars are removed here, and you don't see anything but your code and the open file here to work. So it is more like focusing on the work that you're doing. So it is interesting also to mention and to use. So it is going to be Control K and Z, or Command K on Z plus Z on OS 6. So toggling Zen mode. After these togglers, so these are 3 that I use for toggling, we are going to the sidebar navigation. So the first one on the sidebar navigation is to open this Explorer here. If you go or hover here with your mouse, you'll see the extension. It is Ctrl-Shift-E or Command-Shift-E on macOS. So it is toggling this file explorer here. It is more like you have seen in the previous one with Control B, this toggling it. But right now is more like when you want to go to the specific, let's say to open Explorer instead of search. If you were in the search and you toggled this, you're back to the search. But if you want exactly to go to Explorer, Ctrl-Shift-E, and you're going to Explorer. The next one, we're going from the top here. It is a search or find, and it is the same Ctrl-Shift, but this time F. So it is going to it, Ctrl-Shift-F, and you can go to it here. The next one is source control that you can open by pressing Ctrl-Shift-G and G again. So you have to type G 2 times. The the logic behind this one is more like because it is source control, it's not Git, but I gave it to myself like G as Git, and that's how I remember that one. And the last one here from the default ones is extensions. It is Control Shift X. So the same one on OS X, Command Shift X, or Control Shift X on Windows. So with Control B, we're going to toggle back our sidebar navigation because we don't need it. The next one here is tabs and files navigation. So that's the second group that I mentioned. Here I'm doing the following. Let's say that I have opened this Explorer here and I have some of the files here opened, and then I want to switch between these, let's say, tabs. I call it tabs or files, whatever you want, but as Visual Studio Code is actually Electron application that is using Chromium. It is like using the tabs as you have on in your browser. So some of commands are also available here. For example, you can switch between these tabs or files by pressing Control Tab, and you see the list of opened files here, and you can toggle them without navigating by your mouse here, or if you have a long list here, it is more readable like this to see names of the files and the path of that here. Okay, so this is the one. And now if we want to open a group here, we're gonna click Control 1 or 2, and on Mac OS Command 1, Command 2 or 3, depends on how many groups you have. And one thing here to note is that if you have if you're doing Control Tab here or Command Tab here, it is tabbing through the group, to the single group. It is not going to tab through the items opened in another group. So, for example, I'm going to open the second component here and also to move this one here. And now I'm here in this group and I'm toggling. You can see it is group 1 and everything inside of that group. But if I want to toggle tabs of the second group, I'm gonna press Control 2 or Command 2 in the on Mac OS, and now Control Tab is just tabbing groups of items of that group. So it is interesting as, for example, you're working on something here, and then you wanna just toggle the open files here, not to go through these here because you don't want to mess with them. You're just comparing something. So it is like which group you select, and then Control Tab is going to do the thing here. Also, as I mentioned that it is working as in a browser, so you have commands from browser. Control W or Command W is going to close a tab or a file that you're working on right now. But if you want to reopen close tab, it is Control Shift T or Command Shift T on macOS. So I can actually reopen closed tabs by just doing it like in a browser. So it is when it comes to the tabs files navigation here. And also you can go to another file to open file by hitting Control P or Command P, and you can just search for files. Doesn't matter which one, you can just click on it and it is going to open that file for you. So it is Control P here. Okay, closing these, and also we're going to a group of these shortcuts that I call code or text manipulation. So I'm opening here a component, some component here that I have for testing purposes. And now if I use Alt and arrow down or up, I can move a line of code here. The same goes if I do the, if I select everything or mark a function, I can move that code wherever I need it. So it is just Alt and arrows, down or up. Okay, down, up. So this is the command to move a piece of text or code here. Also, the next one is the same, but you just add, you add just Alt Shift. Alt Shift is going to duplicate the code you want here. For example, I have a constant here, something, and it's empty, doesn't matter. Or I'll add something. I already have something too, and okay. And now, if I wanted to copy this here, I can just press Shift Alt and down, and I can have the same thing here. I can just rename it, and it is. If I want to copy it up on the line above, I can just do the Shift Alt and press up arrow, and it's doing the same thing here. So let's say that I have, for example, I have this constant something here, and I'm using it here. And now I would like to select wherever I use this constant here into this file. So to do that, I can use Control F2. You have to stretch your fingers a bit for this one. It is Control F2, and it is selecting all places, something you selected on all places. Doesn't matter. Is it a variable or is it a string or anything, but it is going to look for all places in the file where that is actually mentioned. So we could have it somewhere like this. Const equals, let's say, equals something okay, something plus something 3. Okay, it doesn't matter. And now we're going to select something 2, because we have it on 3 times, and you can do that with a Control D also, but this time, or Command D on macOS, but this time it is going to be like from every step by step. Like you can select 2 of them or 3, doesn't matter. You can just save, you can just rename these 2, for example, or do whatever you want with them. Or you can click here and Control F2, as I mentioned earlier, to select all places at once and do whatever you want with them. So this is it. And now let's say that you're here in this code, and you want to go to the end of this line. On Windows, you're going to do to use a end button here that you have on your keyboard, and to go back to the first character of the line, you'll just use home. So it is end or home, and home. And also a combination for macOS, it is actually Command and arrow right or arrow left. So it is Command arrow right or arrow left on macOS. And now another one here with the same buttons on Windows, home and end. You can navigate to the end of the file. Control end, and you have end of file. Control, holding Control, home. You're going to the top of the file here. So home and home and. And now I'm going to remove this thing here. Okay. So this is it. And now we're going to navigate here, let's say here, and Another one to go to the block of code, for example. Oops. Okay, sorry. It is Control Shift to navigate through the block. So if you want to go to the end of this block, you can go here. Control Shift and backspace. I think that's Command Shift and backspace on macOS. Okay, here, and you can see here it is going to this one, but if you are here, it will go to the end of this block. So it is just getting the end of the block. If you click anywhere here and try to do that, it will navigate to the end of the block and here. So it is just going to the block that is here. So this is it, and then I have some of the navigational ones. So for example, you can hold Control and go right, and it is just going one by one, word or constant or anything here. So it is holding Control and going one left or right. You can do that. You can also Control Shift, maybe to mark something like this, or go back. And I don't know, maybe to mention options to cut something. Actually, you can select a line of code, Control L, but I think it's Command L on macOS. I'm not sure about it right now, but it is Command L or Control or Control or Option L on macOS. But the thing here is that if you wanna cut this line here, so you don't have to mark it if you don't care about your clipboard, that if you copied something, but you can do the following. If you're anywhere in this row, you can just hit Control X or Command X on macOS. You can also copy this line of code by hitting Control C and hitting Control V here. So when it comes to copying, pasting, copying and cutting, actually, it doesn't matter if you are somewhere here or anywhere, it is automatically copying that line of code. And I think that's it when it comes to these shortcuts. Maybe I have some else, some of them more, but I cannot really remember right now. So I collected this list maybe of 20, 25, 30. I don't know how many we have it, but it is actually useful for me, and I hope so that it is going to be useful for you as well. Also, maybe I haven't mentioned, here is the one regarding these shortcuts. So it is actually Control key, Control S. So you have Control key, Control S, and this one is going to open a list of extensions. I'll open a Zen mode. Okay, and this is keyboard shortcuts that we have in our Visual Studio Code. As you can see, the cursor, this scroll bar here, it is really small. That means that the list is really big, but it is also collecting shortcuts from the from your extensions or anything. So you could actually just write a name, for example, and you can see if you have any of extensions here. So you can see, we have some of these key bindings, let's say for the Quokka or anything else. So you can just search for it, or you can just search for, let's say, Control plus, say D, and you can just get the search by key binding. So you can actually search to key binding. And now I'm going to exit the Zen mode, Control V, don't save anything, and that's it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you have some extensions that, shortcuts that you actually use, please share it in the comments so everybody else would be able to see them. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.